Don't try me, G. I actually didn't know who's the original artist that dropped that.
Toby. Oh my! I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name.
Bro, but that is hilarious.
Don't try me, try Jesus. I think it was Roxy who originally sent me that. I could not stop laughing because we were talking about throwing hands the previous day because we just both got so upset about something in particular. And then we're just like, yo, I want to throw hands in the name of Jesus.
Don't try me, Jesus.
Don't try me, try Jesus.
That should be a hashtag too. Don't try me, try Jesus.
Try Jesus, don't try me. Because that's his land. And people need to listen to that.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, bro, nowadays people be trying me.
I mean, a lot of people be trying people because people are always going to be people. You know?
Very true.
People are always going to be people. And I know for a fact too because I'm considered in the field that I work in, I'm considered a public servant.
Yeah,
so I'm dealing with the public. I'm rendering public documents.
Yeah.
I'm providing a service for the public. So you're literally dealing with the public, and some of these people are just ignorant. They're impatient. They're not well versed on the things that come with legalities when it comes to, because I work in circuit criminal, so it's all criminal cases with certain verbiages, certain lingo, and some of these guys and gals don't know what they want half the time. or have anything to know about respect. Right, so they won't give you like courtesy, common courtesy. They're just very terrible people. So please pray for me, guys.
Pray for all of us.
Pray for all of us.
It's fine. No, maybe I won't.
Pray for all of us. But this is episode 36? Yeah, I think it's episode 36. We're almost a year in. I am planning something for my 1 year anniversary.
I was gonna say, please tell me we're planning like a big party.
Yeah, we're gonna have
live version, something. I don't know.
We're gonna
haven't talked about it yet.
I've actually been talking to Jasmine, so shouts to my baby girl Jasmine. We actually, I've been, kind of like sharing these nuggets of ideas and bouncing it off of her. And I'm getting good feedback. So after the show, I'll bounce it off. We'll talk after the show.
Talk.
But I do want to have like a nice, cool little gathering and an event with the people that trailblazed or helped me trailblaze this.
Can we make it like a live event, like a legit?
Yeah,
live event?
I think it might be a live event where I can get Marco involved in that.
Bruh.
Caleb obviously is going to be in the building as he is right now running the camera. So shouts to Caleb right now.
Shout out, my boy.
He's very excited about Camp Haven. So am I, because Camp Haven is going to be lit.
Bro,
it's gonna be lit.
They don't know, bro.
Only because
don't know.
This year's different because I'm gonna be there, so that's why it's gonna be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true. It's gonna be
I'm just kidding.
We're doing a lot.
I'm washed, bro.
We are doing a lot of new things. One of which is making sure Caleb doesn't do a freaking thing when we get to Camp Haven.
Hey.
That's actually a goal we set for ourselves. Is when we get to Camp Haven, Caleb has to do nothing but watch it happen.
Let's go.
So it's less on.
We're gonna have the best. I think we're just gonna have the best moments ever, memorable moments, best worship. Come on, let's shout the worship team out. Let's go.
People ain't ready. Listen, I legitimately think, and we talked about this. I legitimately think every night's gonna be a cry night.
Yeah.
Somehow, Caleb.
And can we prophesy right now on this show that summer of 2022 is going to mark a lot of people's lives after it's all said and done?
Oh,
let's prophesy.
Yes,
let's prophesy
in the name of the Lord.
Let's literally. No, I'm being serious. Let's prophesy that, bro. Because I have a feeling, man.
Listen, the amount of students that are going, and the kids that we've convinced to go, and who've gotten scholarships.
Yeah.
Kids are so excited.
Yeah.
Kids are amazingly excited to go, and even myself, I threw down for a student to go because it's like, dude, this is going to change your life.
Right, absolutely.
Your life will be completely changed. Not because of what I did, even though, like, yes, God used me to financially donate to you.
Yeah.
It does not matter what I did.
Right.
I want to be a footnote in your story.
Yeah.
Because it's all about what God's going to do when we spend 4 days just out away from everything, where we're just in God's presence. Of course, we're going to have tons of fun.
Yeah, and activities and stuff.
Oh, man, but we got a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
Cool things planned.
I can't wait. Other than that, we're coming off an Easter fun-filled weekend, so I hope everybody's...
How was your Easter, bro?
Good. I hope everybody's that's listening and tuning in had a great and safe Easter, that you guys spent it with your friends and family, your grandpas.
I spent most of it with my grandfather from Tennessee.
Grandfather was in town, I heard, so that's cool. But yeah, to answer your question, my Easter was good. We obviously went to church service, so the church service was amazing, per usual. Hung out with the girlfriend. Shout outs to Jazz. We went on a brunch, and then we just hung out. And then I hung out with my parents. And
nice.
Then had a kind of a early dinner, but wasn't too bad. And just hung out with my parents. My parents need extra love because of what us as a collective are going through.
Yeah,
as far as my family stuff and my brother's situation. And shouts to everybody that's been praying over that situation and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a fun-filled weekend. I didn't work Friday, so that was always fun to have a nice long weekend, because my job was closed on Good Friday. So
people kept asking me, "Are you sure you're working?" I'm like, yes, I am positive I'm working.
So it was good to have a 4-day work week. So it was cool, because then it essentially was a 3-day weekend for me. And speaking of 4-day weeks, did you read on the news that California proposed a bill that they want companies that have 500 employees and more to have 4-day weeks?
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I'm like, yo, if that goes through, Florida needs to.
Well, here's the thing.
Catch up.
They are. I know that there are a few countries in Europe that do this.
I think France is one of them, I believe.
I don't know if it's France. I mean, I can look it up, but I mean, supposedly from what I've read, I don't really know anything about it too much in depth, but like apparently productivity goes up like an insane amount, because it's like, yes, the days are a little bit longer during those 4 days, but people are willing to work more and work harder, knowing, you know what, I have 3 days.
Yeah, I think that's the incentive, though, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean that's a little bit of the incentive, but it's also like, simple psychology. Where it's like, hey, like, you work hard for these amount of days. Yeah, you're gonna get this amount, because like 2 days, it's like, by the time you actually get settled into like the weekend, it's already over. It's already over, and then Monday's creeping around, and you're like dreading it. Gosh. You're like, no, the weekend. I honestly wouldn't mind a 4-day week. Yeah, I mean, me neither. I mean, as long as the salary is what is going to remain the same, if not adjust to. If not just to like a little bit. Because more. I believe companies are also going to need to match the cost of living, especially these Fortune 500 companies and bigger companies who have more than 500 employees are in that position to match cost of living based on the poverty line of whatever state you're in the United States. So if you're obviously the poverty line goes by state basis. Like the poverty line in Maine is going to look different than the poverty line in this in Illinois, because Chicago and all these other. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I read a little bit of the article. I did see it being reposted on Instagram. I actually reposted it on my story because I thought that was like a pretty interesting story, that the state of California is setting the precedent to even propose that and push that bill through and see what Congress says. At the end of the day, that's pretty much. I know they're going to get a lot of pushback from like companies. Right. Companies are going to push back hard. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll see. Except for one company that's currently under siege. What? Twitter. Well, Musk is trying to buy that for like what, $43 billion now? $41.3 billion. I thought it went up to 43. No. I don't think. Well, I mean, I've seen like from 43 to 45
Okay.
billion.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was talking with an advisor today, and he kind of looked at me. He's like, "Do you think he really has the cash for that?" And I'm like,
absolutely, bro. This is
I was
Musk.
like, "You don't understand the amount of money this man has." Like, granted, a lot of it it's like this very complicated, a lot of stocks, whatever. But I'm like, but dude, like, SpaceX alone,
but liquid money. Like,
and here's the thing, he lives very humbly in Texas,
Yeah.
right around the corner from Starbase. Like, he literally lives in like this like tiny little $50,000 house.
Do you think things will change in the social media platform if he does buy Twitter?
Oh, he won't. No, he won't make it.
Yeah.
For sure, he's gonna
So
make it private. He's gonna turn a profit no matter what.
Yeah.
But for him, there's no way that Twitter's worth that much. There's no way. Oh, Elon Musk. Oh, it's higher than that. I guarantee it's higher than that.
What?
Caleb just showed the amount of what apparently.
What was it,
Elon?
Caleb?
$264.6 billion.
Yeah, but isn't that like liquid though?
I don't know. Like I don't know if it's liquid because I know he also has a lot of. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on
assets.
The word. Yeah,
right?
Physical assets that he also has.
Right.
And then like even the things that like his companies like randomly make.
Yeah.
That turns profits all the time.
Yeah.
I mean Tesla's basically a money printing machine.
Right.
He's also has guaranteed income from the government itself thanks to SpaceX.
Right.
And then he also has like the Boring Company. He has all this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean just 26 billion alone is a lot
I feel
of money.
like Elon Musk is like the modern day Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Because Walt Disney basically used like smaller things that happened on the front end to pay for things in the back end. So when like the World's Fair came around, he made like the rides for the World's Fair, and the deal was these other companies, the companies like Pepsi, thanks to Pepsi, we have the most annoying or most blessed song on the face of the planet. It's a Small World. Made It's a Small World.
Yeah.
Had Pepsi pay for it, so he didn't spend a dime, but then all he did was pay for shipping the ship back to California, and he basically got himself a free ride.
Nice.
And I think Elon is kind of on that level of thinking like, well, he makes tons of money from the government.
Yeah.
From all the contracts that he's won from, doing the human landing system and all this other stuff. Not that I'm totally a nerd and pay attention to all that, but to have that like sense and that forward amount of thinking, it's crazy. And so I actually hope he does buy Twitter. In one way or another, he's gonna do something.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be for the better than for the worse. I don't think.
So it depends on who you ask.
I know that's true too.
Like,
because a lot of it is
like, yes, I'm personally an Elon fan. I'm not saying he's infallible. Like the man has done plenty wrong in his life. Whatever. But it's just I admire him for like he's the entrepreneur of the century. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
For sure. No, he's done a lot in a lot of things.
And thank you for giving me more space.
Yeah, right. And a lot of things too is that he's done that people are not a fan of, and then there's on the other side where people are fans of. So like you said, it also.
Well, I was saying just like even.
It also
anything that you do, you're gonna have people who like it, or you're gonna have major critics from it.
Absolutely. But anyway.
Anyways,
we are going to move on because today, boys and girls, we're gonna have another. Because it's been a while. We had a couple of these. I know I had a couple with you, and then I had one with Pedro.
I'm so excited.
The man,
I love these so much.
The myth, the legend. Pedro had done one with me. So yeah, these are always fun because this is actually your questions that you DM the Instagram.
So thank you.
So thank you for checking us out on Instagram and DMing us with all these questions. Some of these questions were questions that we didn't get to in the past because there's only so much that we can address. So some of these questions are older, and then some of these are brand spanking new that came in literally days ago. So we're going to go in no particular order. But before we do, I actually do have a couple prayer requests because last week we didn't have any, and you guys came through with some. So let's see. Let me look for them real quick and get to your prayer requests.
Don't try me, try Jesus.
Bro, that song is amazing.
I might make it my ringtone.
That should actually be a TikTok. Like, you know how the TikTok has,
try Jesus.
yeah, they do like TikTok videos or dances.
Someone out there who's more creative than me.
I know they'll definitely.
We're giving you a free idea. Just
okay. So
give me credit for the idea.
So I only have two. I got one. Please pray for my children. They're struggling with getting straight A's and B's. I'm not asking for much. Please pray for my kids. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, education is. Obviously, we support education. Your kids should be in school and getting good grades. So yes, we are praying for that. Absolutely, they are our future. So, we don't want them to steer away from education and stuff like that. So we're praying for that. And then lastly, I recently lacerated my foot at the job.
Ooh.
Got staples, but struggling with the pain meds. Please pray. Okay, some people are not
Pain
for
meds
pain.
are no joke, bro.
Yeah, pain meds are no joke. I don't know what kind of pain meds you are, but I'm pretty sure if you have 12 staples on your foot, you probably got some of that
They were
hard
giving
stuff.
you some Oxycontin.
Yeah, and if you're struggling with that because you dealt with Oxycontin in a recreational way, man, we're right there with you, brother. We're praying for you for a speedy recovery and for the medication to just do its job and not do anything much more than that, because we know that these pain meds can get addicting and all that other jazz. So yeah, so we're praying for those two. Again, I encourage everyone and anyone that is listening to send in your prayer requests on the Instagram. If you're new to the show, the Instagram is kingdomtalks _pod at Instagram, and you can go ahead and DM your prayer requests, and we will read them on our show, and we'll show you love, and etc. etc.
Nothing but love.
Nothing but love. And so, as we segue to our main course, that Tyler's very excited about.
Our main course is, 'cause there's a lot.
There's a lot to cover, so we're going to cover as much as we can. And again, no particular order. So what we're going to do is, for those who are new, check out our previous episodes. A couple of episodes back, me and Tyler also did what we call Bag of Questions. Pedro and myself did an episode of Bag of Questions as well. Go check them out. It's pretty cool. It'll probably engage in some dialogue if you listen to them with a friend or a family. It's fun. It's real fun to engage in.
Because we're a kid-friendly show.
Yes, absolutely. So check those episodes out. There's a lot of questions that maybe you find intriguing and that you may want to chime in with whomever you're going to listen to, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they're fun. So first question, are you ready, bro? Drum roll, please. And we're gonna answer these together. We're gonna
I want to answer them all.
All right. So first one is: does being theologically sound matter when it comes to your faith and relationship you have with the Lord? That's a loaded question. What do you think, Caleb?
Caleb, I think Caleb's gonna like my response with this. I'm gonna quote one of our old professors, Randy Allison. I'm gonna give him a quote.
Okay.
Randy, I'm pretty sure I said it on this podcast at some point. It's, if you're a Christian, you're a theologian.
Okay.
Because if you're a Christian, you really, in a way, need to defend what you believe. And that, of course, that comes into the subject known as apologetics,
right?
Which is basically just defending your faith,
right?
But it's much more than that. You need to understand why you believe what you believe. You need to be able to defend someone. Hey, this is why I believe that this man named Jesus came to earth, died for us, and then rose again, and rose again and then ascended to heaven. You need to be able to defend that. Mm-hmm. Now, there are certain things that make a Christian, right? Mm-hmm. Believing that Jesus is the Messiah,
right,
is a necessity to be a Christian,
right?
Because here's like, there are Jewish people who believe that Jesus is real, but they don't believe in him,
right? So
that doesn't make them Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We see Jesus as our Savior, as Messiah. Okay, now Caleb and I talk often about this idea of what's known as this idea of national borders versus state borders. Mm-hmm. National borders is like, let's use the United States, obviously, right? We're all Americans. Doesn't matter if you live in California, Florida, Maine, if you somehow or otherwise live in North Dakota. Don't even know anyone from North Dakota. Is it even real? I don't know. But it's a conspiracy. But like, it doesn't matter. Everyone here is American. But then within America, there's you have Florida, you have California, you have like this and that. Like, state lines are not as important as the national lines.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So for being a Christian, here's an example. For being a Christian, you need to believe that Jesus is Lord.
Right.
Right. You need to believe that Jesus is Lord. He's the Messiah. Something that's that's a national border. What's more of a state border is like, should women be pastors? Whether you believe, and this is going to tie into the other one.
Yeah.
Like, what type of baptism is actually
right?
Like, is it infant baptism, believer's baptism? Like, those are state borders. Like, as much as we can debate and think that's important, there are certain things that they're honestly not as important.
Right. Yeah.
The thing you need to become a Christian, for you to go to heaven, for you to go before the Lord, you need to say, and you need to admit with your life that Jesus is Lord. You need to believe in Him with your heart, with all your heart, soul, and mind.
Yeah.
You need that.
I mean, that goes with the story of the thief that was crucified alongside Jesus. He never went through a baptism. He never did this. He never did that. That's all prerequisites of being a Christian. He just literally says, "I believe.
I believe in Jesus.
I believe in you, and I believe
in you this day in heaven."
Yep. And so that'll break a lot of theologians.
Now, here's the thing. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I love my theology.
Yes, you
love
do.
Talking about theology. Anyone who talks to me is just sick of it. But there are times where you need to be able to know certain things, be able to really comprehend it, but be able to describe it.
Yeah.
Now, that obviously, again, that's not as important as just believing, because there's a book I read that's called The Sin of Certainty, where it's like, we're not like, God does not call us to be just theologically sound in everything. He really calls us to have faith.
Right.
So what's the point of being theologically sound if you don't have the faith to begin with? So yes, it's important to know. It's important to know certain things about theology.
Right.
So if you don't,
But it's not like the end all be all, though.
No,
in my opinion. I mean, people may want to debate that, but I don't think.
No, it's not. Like, hey, if they want to debate it, if they want to debate us, hey, reach out to Javi, and then he'll let me know, and we can connect. Because I'll talk to Andy. I'll talk to a wall.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah. So I hope that answered your question.
If it doesn't, yell at Javi.
Holler at the Kingdom Talks IG. All right. Moving right along. How do you know when God has closed or opened a door of opportunity?
I think you can answer this one, bro.
Okay.
I think this is all you, bro.
I think we could both answer this. I'll let you chime in,
but I'm gonna let you lead.
But I'm gonna anchor it, I guess. I think honestly, with me, and I'll use my personal experiences when it came to opportunities and having these windows of opportunities too, and identifying them also helped me with praying. Like, hey, I identify the fact that there is a window of opportunity. Is it a door opened by the works and labor of me and only me, or is it something that I infused Jesus 100% in it for that door to open or close? So I would urge the listener now that's listening to this and is wondering, hey, is this a door of opportunity that God's providing for me and opening up for me or closing for me? I think honestly it comes down to your personal relationship with the Lord and how you're praying about it and how you're moving about it, how you're aligning yourself with it. If it's a job opportunity, because I know a lot of us young adults, we sometimes go through that gauntlet of seeking new job opportunities, and that comes with seeking job opportunities, it comes job interviews, and those can be stressful and nerve-wracking and time-consuming. Because I've been through the gauntlet of going through numerous job interviews in a matter of a week. So I think that the best way to determine and decide for whether or not it's an opportunity that God is providing for you is asking yourself, am I even involving Jesus in the whole process? Once you start there, you'll know. It's like that one thing that everybody says on social media, if you know, you know. It's literally that. Like, you'll know that it's a door being closed or a door being open when you have that relationship with the Lord. It's all relationship with the Lord. It's all praying, and it's all you doing the work. Like, it's not you sitting on the couch and saying, well, the door's going to open because Jesus is good, or the door's going to open because, Jesus is great and he loves me and there's grace. And yes, all those may be true, but what are you doing about it? Mm-hmm. Are you getting up and being intentional about putting your resume out there? Are you putting in the work? Are you putting in the footwork and the labor that consists of getting to whatever it is that you're seeking, whether it be a career change or a new job opportunity or whatever the case may be? I think the door will open and you'll know that it's by God and from God is when you are involving God altogether. It all comes to your personal relationship that you have with the Lord.
To piggyback off that, I'd say listening is important.
Yeah.
You need to listen and pay attention. Because as much as like, I want God to speak to me. Okay, sometimes he may not speak all at once. Sometimes he may continuously tap on your heart slowly but surely over time. Just tap here, tap there, or like he'll just put something in your heart. And I mean, yeah, like if you know, you know, but there's a certain point where you just have to just listen. You just have to listen, because I mean, there's a couple of things that I'm been thinking a lot on, praying a lot on. I mean, stuff that I've told you recently that's like, hey, I would have loved to, leave this in the past, but God has just kept putting it back on my heart, and I can't ignore it.
And that also comes with having a relationship with the Lord.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, so I think the way you said it was amazing, but you gotta listen.
Yeah. You hear that, kids? Pastor Tyler says, you guys gotta listen, okay?
Please not call me Pastor Tyler.
I said that on purpose.
Not if you try to do that.
I know you cringe every time.
Please get that out of your mouth now.
Okay. But all right, boys and girls, I hope that, and for the person that asked that question, I hope that answers your question. Great question, by the way.
Yes.
So far, good questions. All right. Next one. Again, no particular order. Here we go. Should you forgive someone who's cheated on you and give them another chance? Man.
This is always one that I feel like stumps a lot of people.
It does, man.
But I also feel if we were kind of in like a really big church, it'd be one of those things that pastors kind of like, oh, just Jesus forgive. It's like, that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
That doesn't really help me. That doesn't answer my question.
Right.
I'm going to be honest. I have been cheated on.
Me too.
It sucks.
It does.
It does suck. And it leaves a deep scar that it's hard to overcome and trust again. And it's, oh, man. Obviously, forgiveness no matter what. Let's be honest. Let's have that conversation.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Forgiveness no matter what. I mean, you can still forgive them. You can keep forgiving them. Doesn't mean you necessarily need to fully trust them again, but at least forgive them.
Yeah.
Because there are people who I think it's like, hey, look, I forgive you for what you did to me, but I can't fully trust you in the way that I used to.
Right.
Now, many people would say like, oh, you haven't fully forgiven them yet.
Yeah.
But then experience comes into play.
Yeah. And
so when I think about it and I put myself in their shoes again, would I take back any people who cheated on me? I'm gonna be honest. No, I wouldn't take back anyone who's ever cheated on me. Because I think that is like, I'm not saying it's everyone, but I think there's a deeper character flaw. Yeah. Kind of within that, and at least for me and my standards, and for what I kind of see in my life, is I can't have somebody kind of like, I'm not looking for anyone perfect, because there's no one perfect.
Right.
Christ.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking that. I'm not speaking that. I'm saying that way. But I mean, now here's the thing. I know people who are forgiving enough that could do it.
I've heard of stories that,
and I've heard of stories
that
where it's
done
like,
that.
someone cheated and they went through this, reformation or restoration. Reformation, restoration, whatever. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you could get to a place of reconciliation and an understanding that, okay, you messed up, you slept with someone besides me. I mean, we're talking about married people, right?
Wait, would this be married?
I don't know. I mean, we could talk about both, but this person said they didn't really say that they were married, that they were dating. So
I think a lot of times yes, obviously it happens in marriages, but I think more from at least the way the question sounded,
right?
It's from more of just like a relationship.
A relationship. Okay. So we could talk in that
because
perspective.
obviously if it happens in a marriage, you all have some
there's
some serious things that need to work for.
Yeah, right. Because there's we talked about it on the show that with the situation with Carl Lentz, right?
Yeah,
he stepped out. He's a pastor on a huge platform.
But he and his wife are still together.
Right. So that's something that needs to be worked on. There's probably some counseling that needs to overlook that.
For sure.
There's some counseling that needs to be, really, really like in that situation. So that's a situation that needs a lot of TLC. Right. But now if we're talking about people who are dating and are in committed relationships, and obviously if you're dating and you're a Christian, the end game is marriage, right? That's the end game.
Or it should.
It should be, because
sometimes it's not always people's goals.
Right. It that messes with my theology.
Hey.
Because
there we go. We're starting to get there.
Pastors will tell me that you can't stay in a season of engagement and not expect your end goal to be anything but a marriage, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're calling yourself a Christian, like a lot of people stay stuck in the honeymoon phase and they just want to stay there. What happens is, because they're forcing to stay in the honeymoon stage of the relationship, because you've been dating for 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 months, they want to stay there. The honeymoon phase is just a phase. That's why it's called a honeymoon phase. But people want to just prolong that and stay there. And the more you try to force it to just be a constant thing, is where you're going to run into problems. You're going to run into indifferences. You're going to run into a lot of back and forths, because now your partner is like, okay, I feel like there's a lid on our growth, because you want to stay in this space. Like, where's the substance? Where's the growth? And then one of the partners are going to obviously call you out on certain things, and it's like, hey, what are we doing? Are we wasting our times? Are we just spinning our wheels? Like, what are we doing? And that's where confusion comes in, and that's where the drama is kind of sets in, the different isolated incidences that happens within that space. So I feel if there's clarity and you know what you're getting yourself into, and you're communicating these things with your partner, you have to essentially learn your partner. And if you're not learning your partner, you're not growing together, and you don't have an understanding like, hey, we got to honor God, our bodies, and everything along with it to get to that end goal, right? We have to move accordingly. And a lot of people struggle with that, and I get it, because being in a relationship is not an easy thing, right? Allowing someone else to invading your personal space and your personal life, however that looks like, is going to be difficult. It's going to be work, right? It's just not going to magically appear and happen. Everything's going to be daisies and sunflowers and
unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah, unicorns and rainbows, and expect to get married and you live happily ever after. It doesn't happen that way, of course. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're dating for 4 months, right? Let's just put things in perspective. If you're dating for 4 months and you find out that person cheated on you, was it really love? Was it really intention there? But now if you're dating and you're in a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year relationship, there's a lot of time that you invested in getting to know this person, getting to know this person's family, I would assume at this point, getting to know each other in a deeper rooted level. And then you find out that they stepped out on you. It's like, wow, what the frig? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, the perspective is what it is. Like, someone cheated on me 3 years in, or someone cheated on me 3 weeks in. It looks different. It feels different. The pain is obviously different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can find myself, and Caleb's here too. He may have an opinion on it, but like I don't know if, as a man, as us men in this room, I don't know if I'll be able to bring that person back, fully trusting that person. If I found out 3 years in that you stepped out on me, I don't know. I may come to a place where I may forgive that person, but I have to move on. You know what I'm saying?
My mind goes, of course, to the biblical stories
right.
about why am I blanking on his name? The one who God told to marry a prostitute, and the prostitute ran away. Was it? Jose. Thank you. Why did I forget that? Wow, I know, right? Caleb's face just said it all for me. So like Hosea, right? Like wife went out, cheated on him, all this stuff, and yet he still chased. I'm like, yo, like that man is a bigger person than I am.
Right, but 100%. Also he felt like he was obeying God's commands.
Yes, and we should continue to honor that as well. Now, I do believe there could be to a point where it's like, okay.
I think, isn't that the exception though? Like if someone cheats on me and I feel God shoulder tapping me and saying, yeah, she cheated on you, but you need to take her back, then I would have to wrestle with that for a while.
You're gonna wrestle with it, but then you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose that wrestling match.
Why you say that?
God always wins. Are you kidding me?
Oh no, but I'm saying no. I understand that, but like, but okay, but I thought you meant it in a way that we shouldn't be wrestling with that.
No, we should listen. I think the whole thing with wrestling,
because wrestling with that's going to consist of a lot of prayer.
It's a lot of prayer.
If he's shoulder tapping you and saying,
you're going to say,
Caleb, yes, she cheated on you. Yes, you guys been together for 3 years. She cheated on you. Cool. But I'm shoulder tapping you, and you need to forgive her, and you need to go back. Bro, if he's shoulder tapping you and telling you that stuff, I mean, I don't know what Caleb would do, but I know what I would do. I would definitely like fester in that for a while. And I'm going to take my time with that, because breaking my trust, and I know it's very fleshly of me to just say, oh, they broke my trust and it's me, and I'm putting myself first. But it's still breaking a trust, bro. Like you dishonored the relationship, and in dishonoring that, I feel that's a bigger sin. Even though sin is still sin, and there's no such thing as big sin, small sin in God's eyes. But like, dude, you stepped out on me. That means you had sex with someone outside of our relationship, and we should, and technically we shouldn't be having sex. So you're having relations with someone outside of our relationship. We've been together for 3 years, and I'm finding this out. Like, how do you know what I'm saying? How do you navigate through that? More or less, not only how do you navigate through that, but how do you come to terms in forgiving that person that you love and you invested 3 years in?
Yeah, I obviously, when it comes to marriage, it's a little bit different.
Right.
Marriage is a little bit different.
No, I'm just saying in a relationship.
If you're just in a relationship, I think there's obviously a deeper.
Because I know Christians
there's so many levels to that.
I know Christians who are in relationships right now that are in it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Currently, they're not even engaged yet. They're thinking about engagement, but sometimes people's pace are different. Some people get engaged in 8 months. Other people wait a year, 2 years. But you know, I still believe in my brain, in like the way I look at things. Like, if I'm gonna invest all this time in you, I want to marry you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to play games. And I'm a certain person of a certain age too, so I look at things a little different. But go ahead, because I know you're ready to pop out of your clothes. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask a question. It might hit somebody hard. How often do we cheat on God, though?
Oh man, how did I know you weren't gonna get there, bro?
Think about that. Like, we are the bride of Christ, right? And we cheat on God a lot.
Absolutely.
With all these different.
Well, let me tell you something. I ain't Jesus.
But maybe that's a model for us to follow. I'm just saying.
It is a model. And
I'm just saying.
And again, if God's not shoulder tapping me to take back that cheater, I'm not taking that cheater back. As much as it's gonna hurt me, as much as it's gonna be traumatizing.
So long story short, your call, whatever God tells you, if He tells you to take them back, Do it. Prayer. Lots of prayer.
Lots of prayer.
Lots of prayer. We can't fully answer that for you because it's like, yes, you should forgive them. Yes, you should. I mean,
because doesn't it come with discipline too, though? Because we all emotionally cheat, especially us as men, because we're visual creatures, right? We were talking about it earlier, Caleb. We're chilling at the gym, minding our own business, and a fine little thing just happens to walk by. And you're in a relationship, in a committed one, mind you. And, in a committed one, mind you. You're in a committed relationship, you're minding your own business, you're working out, and then you see this thing, right? And it's like, your mind takes you there.
It's also why I don't go to the gym anymore.
Right, and your mind takes you there, and yes, if you're going to be transparent and you're going to call it what it is, you do emotionally cheat because you're thinking ungodly things about what you just saw. But then at the end of the day, you're going to hang out with the girlfriend that you see yourself marrying, and you're not going to tell her what you saw at the gym. You're going to keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to just have your day with your girlfriend. But how many of us do actually emotionally cheat? And you girls too. You girls that are scrolling on your social media, going to the same gyms and see this fine guy with the chiseled jawline and the nice abs and the perfect tan and the perfect glow to him. You guys are looking and you gals are talking, and we know how gals like to talk about things.
Women talk more about sex than men do. That is actually a fact.
Google it. Whoever wants to debate that.
If you want to debate it with me, go ahead. Reach out to Javi. Kingdom Talks Pod. He'll connect you with me. We'll talk.
Yes, but...
so moving on from depressing subjects.
Yes, so...
Give me something good.
All right, so we did our best to answer that question. Moving right along.
Even answer it.
Okay, so here we are.
Right.
How can you get your prayer life in order?
Discipline.
And also, I like to add...
More discipline.
Just to add on to that, on a serious note.
That was a short answer.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that short answer, I think also, and I know I don't like using this word because I just don't like this word, but routine, because I hate when you get into a routine.
That's not bad either, no.
But that's not bad neither, as long as you're intentional to what you are.
Intentionality leads to discipline, which leads to routine, which leads to innately just doing it without even you thinking about it. Now, obviously, prayer should be intentional. It's an intentional speaking time with God.
Yeah.
How you handle that can be different. It doesn't have to be the same every day. For me, I usually have time carved out in my day. Right. I'm up every day now at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. Because apparently I hate myself. But I pray before I study the Word in the morning. When I'm studying the Word, I go work out, and then in the shower I spend some time in worship and I prayer, because I'm isolated. I'm by myself. I want to spend that time in deep prayer. Now I do that every day. Yeah. Every single day. Now from there, it depends on what's going on. Like the other day, a friend of ours was going through something really bad. Of course, prayed over them and this and that. But at least do your best to start a routine. Like people normally go with the first thing in the morning, last thing at night type of thing. Yeah. Obviously before meals, but really it's kind of one of those the more you do it, the more it's going to become easier to do over time. So, I mean, even if it's just a small prayer, it's hey, God, just help me not throw hands on this person right now. Right. Don't try me, try Jesus. Well, that's what we're doing right now. Yeah. And so, bring that song back in. Whoever listens to this podcast is going to be driven mad. But honestly, just it's one of those things where you just keep trying your best. Because I myself, I don't have the best prayer. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. I need to definitely work at it, especially if I'm gonna be in positions I'm in or whatever. Yeah. I need to be way better than that. But it's also it gets easier as time goes on. It does. Right. But you also don't want to I also feel like prayer yes. Because I was even talking to my stepmom about this. Actually, even before I came over, because we were talking about my parents' church, since I was with them for Easter. Right. They have there's two churches combined together or whatever. Yeah. And the new church is trying to integrate some of the old church's traditions, some of which are like the Lord's Prayer, the Apostles' Creed, right? My stepmom is, I love the creeds because it's so beautiful, and you say it say it every single Sunday, whatever. And I'm like, and back in my head, I'm like, well, that's why I hated saying them, because it was the same thing going over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I didn't really get much from it.
Yeah.
Did it help? Yes, because here's the thing, I memorized all of them.
Okay.
I listen, dude. I can
naturally.
I can take you through an entire Lutheran service and not even like hesitate for a second.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But there are also power to that. So I feel like once you make it habitual, then you can kind of take that and run with it and be a little more free with that. So try your best to do it. It's like, hey, like you want to maybe fast, prayer and fast.
Yeah.
It's 21 days.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what is it like?
I think it takes 21 days. Caleb,
21 days to break it.
21 days to break a habit and make a habit.
21 days to break a habit. Then there's another 2 weeks before it becomes permanent.
Permanent, right?
Something like that. Something along those lines. And so try that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things where it's just like if you. Right,
and what Tyler said, guys, it doesn't have to look perfect. Don't get discouraged if you mess up and you miss a couple days that you didn't really get into a prayer time. Hey, I'm gonna raise both hands. Caleb might attest to that too. Like, there's gonna be days where the alarm clock didn't go off, or you press snooze 3 or 4 times you shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? You woke up with an extreme nauseated feeling that you couldn't get to your prayer. It happens. Just don't get discouraged because it didn't happen, or it happened in a way that it was rushed, or it happened in the way that it didn't feel right. As long as you're communicating with the Lord, in the bathroom, on the way to work, in your car, just open those avenues of communication with the Lord. That is prayer at the end of the day. It doesn't have to look perfect. So hopefully that'll encourage you to keep on pushing on with that.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on, and keep on fighting the good fight. All right, moving right along.
Give me some good.
Do you believe Christian athletes have a competitive edge over a non-Christian athlete?
Ooh, we were talking about this morning.
Yes, we were.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good question. One that we have some. I actually think we have differing ideas on.
We do, which is fine.
Hey, that's great.
I love to challenge an idea.
Well, go here.
No, you go first.
No, you go. No, please, after you start. It's your podcast.
All right. With me, again, Tyler kind of said it. We talked about it early this morning about that particular question.
Very early.
Yeah, it was very early this morning. I think in a mental, because when it comes to athletics, the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect of it, there's a correlation. I take Kobe Bryant, R.I.P. Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe. But the late great Kobe Bryant always would challenge you mentally. The Mamba mentality was birthed because of the mental toughness that Kobe Bryant, embodied, and a lot of that he thanked Michael Jordan for.
Yeah.
But he took it to another level, and hence why Mamba mentality became a thing. To my understanding, Kobe Bryant was a believer of Jesus Christ. He came from Christian Judeo system beliefs in one side of his family, and he really carried that with his life. He would go to church services whenever he could, whenever he was able to. I know that Vanessa, his wife that he married, she comes from a Catholic background and stuff like that. So I know that he believed, and I know that a lot of his principles that he believed in his core beliefs come from a Christian-based thing. And so the Mamba mentality, along with his physical, God-given talent, was a perfect storm for him to be able to have a competitive edge to his competitors, to the opposition. So does it put you in in another stratosphere? I don't think so. But does it give you an initial push where it could take you to greatness where maybe the non-Christian athlete could never touch? I believe yes. I know that you think different because you kind of, from my understanding to what our conversation we had about it this morning, you were kind of leaning more so on the physical aspects and abilities to perform and succeed in whatever platform you're in, whether it be tennis, golf, basketball, football, what have you. But that's just my personal take on it because I experienced it on both ends, being that I was an athlete as a non-Christian and had a lot of questions as to why people would pray before and after games. And then when I became a Christian and when I was still very involved in athletics, it put me in a different place mentally, where I would be able to, that I would feel anyway, that I would have a bit of a edge over my opposition.
And here's the thing, I don't think you're wrong on that. Like that's the one thing is I think your idea on the mental side of it, I think definitely holds some water and definitely holds some weight. And I may not like fully think it's necessarily that. Like yes, there is plenty of evidence to back up what that is. You know, you look at Kobe. Let's look at Curry, right? Steph Curry is a Christian.
Yeah.
People have gotten behind him because he is a Christian.
Yeah.
And like, kind of the same thing, like his work ethic, second to none.
Right, yeah.
Second to none. Now, you do need to put in the work. You do need to put in the physical work. Yeah. Because, listen, I believe in Jesus, but I still can't get, I can't outwork somebody who's been on, who put in more work than I did. Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason, like coaches say, like work hard, like fight for the ball, go for every, like there is that mentality, yes, but you still need to have a physical side to it. And if you do, like I said this morning, if you just don't, you can have a great mentality, but if you just don't do the work, you're not going to keep up with people who are putting in work for a month, 2, 3. Years, whatever. Like, obviously, I'm not going to step onto a court and win a game of basketball against someone who's in the NBA.
Yeah.
I could probably put up a fight.
Yeah.
But I'm not winning.
Yeah.
Physically, I have no advantage over that. But there's a mentality, but obviously, I think there's a physical side of it. So, does it create an advantage? I think it can a little bit. Yes, absolutely. But I don't think advantage in the way of like, oh man, they're just gonna win just because the power of God is on their side.
Yeah.
Like that's not how. What's that one kid? I have the power of God and anime on my side. Like that's not like you do. Like you're my foot's couldn't connect with your face. And you're done.
Yeah. No. Yep. And so that's where the difference is, and that's healthy dialogue, and we could
look at us.
Yeah.
Look, guys. You can disagree.
You can disagree
still be friends.
and still be friends. Wow.
Ooh,
but that was a great question, though. I mean,
and
I'm sure the person that asked that question is an athlete, so they were just wondering.
I would assume.
And that's cool. Okay, so moving right along. What is the difference between baptized by water and by the Spirit?
You saved this question for the end on purpose, didn't you? Make all the theology stuff at the very end. All right. So here's the real difference. Water baptism is more about the external, and Spirit baptism is more about the internal. That's the short version.
Right.
I'm working on condensing things. Okay. I was challenged to not explain it in a 50-minute sermon. Anyways, so the baptized in the Spirit is really more about the heart. Is really more about the internal.
Yeah.
Because like. We see these, especially in Acts. We see when the Spirit comes into the world.
Right.
We see it in Acts. We see there's a couple of places in Acts where baptism is really used. Right. The baptism of the eunuch. multiple places where the apostles went, people got baptized.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, the physical water baptism, right? No matter how you do it, whether it's like you drizzle water on you, you get full immersion, right? The eunuch didn't get fully immersed, but he was still baptized.
Right.
You have other people who they were used in the river,
right?
Like all that stuff. Like that's the physical showing of your surrender.
Yeah, it's the outward expression of.
Now the Spirit baptism is one where the Holy Spirit, being filled with the Holy Spirit in Spirit baptism, there's people debate that there's a difference. There really isn't too much of a difference.
Some people call it like the being baptized in the fire.
Yes, that as well. I mean, but there's also some other things that is very theologically different, but we're not going to get into that tonight because we A, don't have the time, and B, nobody want to talk about that. Not tonight, or today, or whatever, whenever you're listening to this. But being filled with the Spirit, being baptized in the Spirit, can happen because many people think, oh, like you get baptized, then the Spirit. If you look in Acts, the Spirit falls on people before they get baptized.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you also like, there is example of that in Acts, but there's also examples where people got baptized physically.
Yeah.
But then they had to be prayed over to get the Spirit baptism. Yeah. Right?
And now, that could actually take a little while.
That could take. I mean, you can get it now, or you can get it later. Like there's, I feel like Luke, the writer of Acts, did that to show, hey, like it don't be so legalistic in the way of like it has to be this particular way.
I've actually witnessed one.
Oh, really?
Someone getting baptized by the Spirit,
mm-hmm.
and bro, they were speaking in tongues. I don't know if Caleb's have seen one. Have you witnessed one? So, and they're like speaking in tongues, and I thought that was incredible. I was like, wow, this is cool.
It's awesome. It's crazy, but it's like, but a lot of it is like, hey, like you see them like a lot of them like pray over it, they talk about it.
Yeah.
To really make sure it is of God.
Yeah.
To make sure it really is of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the difference between the two. But being filled with the Holy Spirit, like, I mean, it's kind of like falling back to the athleticism thing.
Have you been baptized by the Spirit? I haven't gone a spiritual.
I'm sorry for those who didn't see it. I nodded.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but here's the thing. Like,
I've only been baptized by water.
As sensitive to like speaking of the Holy Spirit as some other people really are. Some people are like very like they get it all the time. They like walk in it consistently.
Yeah, my brother.
Right. Me, I don't. I'm not always walking. I'm not always filled with it, and that's okay.
Some people are so filled with it that you could hear it in their speech when they're praying.
Oh yeah, it's just like, yo, do you like
do
you wake up drinking holy water?
Yeah, they start speaking in tongues, which is actually a pretty cool sight to see.
It freaks people out. Tongues freaks a lot of people out, but there's some power.
Yeah. So that's the difference, boys and girls, on the difference between the water baptism and the fire baptism.
I think I did a good job without rambling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be proud of me, whoever challenged me. I'm not going to say a name.
Okay. All right, moving right along. We actually got a couple left, and we're making good time. How can you better communicate with your partner when you yourself struggle with words?
You touched on this earlier.
Oh, okay.
Understanding your partner.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's even a couple situations that Caleb and I are kind of dealing with a little bit where it's like you have to understand the person.
Right.
Right. Now, I was with somebody that I would tell them something,
mm-hmm.
like something big and important, and it would take them a couple days to process it. And
it's like, why don't you get it the minute I tell you?
Like, I explained it. But
I'm sure Caleb deals with that with students, because when you talk to students and you tell a student a certain thing, and then
I don't understand.
And then like 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, all right. So Matt, did you? Oh, now? And I'm sure Caleb's pulling his hair, like, what do you mean? I just told you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, communication is
plenty of times. But it's understanding, but it's understanding of yourself, but it's also understanding of the other person.
That's good. Yeah.
Because it's like and this is why, like, whenever I do a wedding, because I've performed a few weddings.
Officiated a wedding.
I've officiated a few weddings.
The Star Wars wedding.
That one was lit. sense.
Yeah.
I love that one. That one I didn't put as much work into because I've known them for so long because I already have been pouring into them. But like, I usually have a couple steps where I like to meet the couple like a few times. And one of the things that I like to tell people, like if they start dating, whatever, is like, hey, like take like the Myers-Briggs test, take like this type of test, take this, and it's not because like, oh man, like it's only psychological. It's like, it just helps you with the understanding of you and your partner and finding out what is the best way for. I mean, it's like this. It's like the love languages, right?
Yeah.
Some people. Like me, I like physical touch. Just touch me, then I will know that you love me, type of thing. But your partner may not want that.
Yeah, my love language is words. Tell me good things and sweet nothings, and I feel loved.
Hey, Coffee, I love you.
Yeah.
You're so
Jasmine's love language is quality time. So you got to hang out with her, and she feels loved.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's important too.
But what would you tell a person that is struggling with words, that struggle with words and can't articulate certain things, and they just struggle being a communicator?
I would ask them,
because that's basically where the question is coming from. Like, how can I better communicate with my partner when I struggle with words?
I would say two things. I would say, of course, listen to your feelings, listen to what they're saying.
Right.
But I also would think, I mean, this is going to sound so stupid. It's like, find another way to communicate. Because I know for some people...
Yeah, because communication doesn't have to necessarily be all words.
It doesn't have to be all verbal. Yeah. Now, because, like, I mean, if you feel comfortable, like, you can write, like, you can write a letter.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, you can ask someone else to kind of, like, help you find a way... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. To communicate that. Yeah. Because, I mean, let's be honest, like, there's some things that I kind of go to some people like, hey, I kind of want, like, how would I say this? Yeah. Like, I feel this way, how would I say this? But obviously the person you want to go to is your partner. Right. But it's, like, really, you have to work hard to find that way. Yes. To find a way in which you feel like you can actually communicate. Or find a way that would help your partner understand what you understand. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you both of you guys in the relationship at any given time, in some time, in any event or whatever, you have to feel loved in some degree, to some degree. I mean, some days are going to be different than others because, you know, when you're doing life with your partner, not all days are going to look the same and they're going to and going to feel the same. Now, if you're trying to communicate to your partner and show them that you truly love them, you don't necessarily have to do it with words if you find yourself struggling with words. So what you can do is you can be a little bit more proactive. Like, instead of telling them you love them, maybe you want to show them that you love them. So how is it that you're showing them love? So you got to work there. If you struggle with words, do things, serve them, because we do have to serve one another. And us as leaders in that, where we are called to be in the relationship, us as men, because I believe this was a man. I don't know. You didn't write down names. You didn't send me names. No, but I did highlight which ones were men and female. Okay, this one was. That's actually a good, like, what's the percentage men versus female who ask questions? Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting this answer. Yeah, mostly I didn't highlight much, so most of these questions were asked by females. I am not surprised. Not because it's a sexist thing, but I feel like there's, like, women are... Because here's the thing. Most of the podcasts have been nothing but men. Yeah. And women for some strange reason have a tough time understanding men. Right. And this kind of ties back into what we're talking about. Yeah. You know, because a lot of times it's like women want to, like, communicate all these things. Yeah. Or even the other way around. It's like, you know, as a guy, it's like, how do I communicate this with this woman? Right. How am I able to communicate this with this woman? Yeah. Now, I feel personally, I felt blessed with, like, especially my last relationship, like, I could word vomit, and it'd be okay. I could word vomit, I could be okay. But I also had to, like, tell this other person multiple times, hey, it's okay if you don't feel up to this. It's okay if you don't, like, feel this way. It's okay. Like, because there was a couple times where they came to me like, hey, like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Because they didn't know that they could come to me and tell me, hey, I like what you're doing with this I don't feel like is okay. And they had to really find the courage to be able to come forth and tell me that. Yeah. And I had to constantly tell this person, just tell me. Just like if you want to communicate to me, do it in your own. But honestly, the best way is just to tell me.
Yeah.
Just blurt it out. Just tell me right here, right here, right now. And that comes with knowing each other.
Yeah.
That comes with understanding the other side and understanding how they receive it as well. And it's like, well, I don't really. It's like, and then of course I hear people, but that's not me.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do it that way.
I was just gonna say that because
blah, blah, blah. But okay, then if you're not willing to do that work, are you really working for the relationship?
Exactly. And I think there's going to be a.
Why am I single?
but the thing is, like,
actually no, I'm sorry. That's a. All right. No. Okay.
But what I'm saying is, like, because you kind of.
I'll be over here, guys.
To piggyback on what you just said, like, learning your partner essentially is going to equip you to better communicate with your partner. And I think that with learning your partner and being intentional with your partner, it's actually going to equip you to be able to be a better communicator. And I think the words will flow. And even if you find yourself that, hey, I'm not a great communicator, I'm not good with words, I bet you, though, that if you are intentional with your partner, that you are being very purposeful and doing things on purpose, getting to know your partner on purpose, and knowing that this relationship that you're in has a purpose, the words will flow. I will almost guarantee you that the words will flow, and you will come up with words to communicate to your partner to further let your partner know that you love them. And I truly, truly do believe that. So keep on working on it, because Tyler kind of hit on that. He said it does take work. It does take work. You have to put in the work, and then reap the fruit and the fruit of your labor. And that's essentially being in a healthy relationship, understanding one another. Communication is never going to be an issue, because both of you guys are reciprocating what you guys are giving one another, and that's A, each other's time, B, being communicative and being receptive to the communication, and you're reciprocating that. I think that it'll put you in a place where you're going to find yourself in a healthier relationship, because your partner's going to know that they're loved, and you're going to know that they're being loved, and vice versa. So, yeah.
Solid,
right?
Next question.
Pretty solid. All right. Next question. Oh, this kind of ties in with what we just spoke about, because it's kind of relational based, but here it is anyway. Should courting or the courtship phase have a timeline?
The answer is no. Next question.
It shouldn't have a timeline. You should definitely be praying, being intentional. Stop playing with them. Don't be dating around behind their back.
I was going to say, perfect. It's not, courting is not dating.
Yeah.
Courting is not, like, let's do the difference. Like, dating is like you're just hanging out, you're getting to know the person, whatever. Courting is like with the intention of, I intend to marry you.
Yeah.
I am going to marry you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be working hard so I can fulfill that goal of marrying you. Now, I was actually talking to someone about this, where it's like, I would rather be in a relationship longer and have a short engagement, because it's like, once we're engaged, we're like, it's like, let's go,
yeah, let's go time.
But it's just I'm courting you because it's like, because it's not, because like if I'm just, I was even talking with Navik about this. It's like, dating is a weird friggin' concept.
It really is.
Once you start, like, don't get me wrong, it's a Western concept, it's newer or whatever, but like once you start understanding, it's like, dating is just so weird.
Because I feel like when you're dating, you're literally going on job interviews, because you're interviewing the person to see if they match you. You're sitting down for coffee, you're hanging out a couple of times, you're going on a couple of dates with this person, and you're kind of gauging what makes them tick, what they're passionate about, if you're asking the right questions, of course, and all these things. And it gets weird, and it's kind of uncomfortable at times.
How much do you make your year? Oh, you don't make that. Okay, strike one.
I know, right?
Let's see here. Oh, you like Pokemon?
Yeah.
Strike two. Like, I mean, that's ridiculous. But
but yeah, courting shouldn't have a timeline.
But here's also the other side. Don't be in a rush to just get married.
Boom.
Please, for the love of everything good and
so
holy.
many people that I've seen, and I'm not going to mention any names, has rushed into engagement,
rushed into it. Don't fall to the pressure of society, of the culture that you're in.
Yeah.
Please do not fall to that, because even though they may put all this pressure on you, they're going to keep asking more and more and more and more of you, and you're never going to satisfy it.
Yeah.
So do you boo boo, but like
I know 3 couples in the years that I've been involved with church culture, church environments, and different churches.
Oh, dude,
I've known 3 couples that rushed into marriage, and guess what? In 2022, 3 of those couples, 2 of those couples, I should say, are now divorced. 2 of those 3 are now divorced in 2022.
That might be a future podcast. We're still still talking through it.
Yeah,
we're still talking through it.
Yeah,
but anyways, I agree with you. Like there are plenty of relationships that have ended or it didn't work out, and especially in divorce for different reasons, and that's just because they felt like, I mean, even a good friend of ours, I'm not gonna say his name. But I mean, his stories, like, I don't say it's sad, but like, it's funny. Like, he came back later, and like when we were talking, he's like, yeah, like we both like realized that, like, the day they were getting married, he's like, what are we doing? And apparently his wife was saying, they're thinking the exact same thing. It's like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah. And
I'm like, that's friggin' crazy.
That is crazy. That's a crazy thought. Crazy.
So no limit. I'm sorry, no.
There's no timeline. Don't put a timeline on it, because then you're gonna feel rushed. So don't do that.
Don't do it.
Just
don't do it, man.
Okay, so here we go.
Don't try.
Speaking of demographic and male and female, this came from a male.
Oh boy.
He's like, I am. Excuse me. I am a Christian, but I also like to gamble, especially now with these gambling apps. Is gambling a sin? Is gambling a sin?
Ooh, see, okay, I want to know how he defines sin first, but we as Christians are called to be shepherds.
Right. We
are, God has blessed us with things, and God wants us to take care of these, whether it's people or money or or time or this thing. We need to shepherd it well. If we are putting ourselves where we are mismanaging that, we are not being good shepherds.
Right. Especially,
and because we are not being good shepherds, we are missing the mark of what God intended. So in that regard, if you're saying sin is missing the mark, then I would say yes, gambling is sin. But I also think it's like, gambling can be fun. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it can be fun. I gamble sometimes with my little brother.
Dude, especially sport. And because me and you are so into sports, sports gambling, it's hard not to just putting a couple of dollars on a wager.
Personally, I know my luck. I never bet money on anything ever. My brother is actually decent. And I think he might. I'm trying to talk to him.
Especially now that the sports gambling culture is not as taboo anymore.
But it makes money, but people lose a ton.
Yes.
My brother
almost
made a ridiculous amount of money
a
few months ago
on sports gambling.
On sports gambling.
Okay.
On sports gambling, he was like one statistic away from winning like a crazy amount of money.
That's insane, dude.
And I'm just sitting there going, and I'm looking, I'm like, bro, like, that's not okay. And then he recently wanted me to bring over my poker set that I have, because he was like, me and my dad, when I was younger and when the kids were really young, me and him went on like this like free online like poker site. We loved Texas Hold'em. Me and my dad just loved Texas Hold'em. And we would play, but we weren't betting real money. It was all that it was all just, of course, it was online, it was free, it was just fake money. We would play
like the digital currency.
Yeah, essentially. If it would have been real money, low key would be millionaires. Low key. But at the same time, like it's just. But to get there, we lost so much money.
Right. Yeah.
We also lost a lot of money. So we still have made a profit, but that was still fake money. So we were fine, whatever. But when it comes to actually like with your real money, you need to steward that.
Because we are called to be good stewards of our finances. So, and if you're not tithing and you're too busy gambling, I would suggest and encourage you to kind of get that in line first.
Yes. So gambling is sin. If you if you set aside a little bit.
If you mismanage it, it could be a sin.
If you mismanage it.
If it's not God honoring, it's a sin, obviously.
But it doesn't mean
if you
can't have fun with it. Like if you're gonna throw in $5 into like the office pool for March Madness.
Yeah.
I don't think that really matters. Now if you throw in $5,000, that is because
now you're entering because now you're entering into the realm of like it becoming an idol, and we all know what the Bible says about that.
We all know how we feel on that in the Bible.
God feels on that.
Good question though.
And I think this is the last one.
Did we really go through all of them?
Yeah, we did.
I thought there were more.
Oh no, we got 2 more. I'm sorry. So these are the last 2, guys. Ready? If you're engaged, married, or in a serious relationship, is it okay to entertain friends of the opposite sex?
I think I texted you about this one. I want to understand what this person means by entertain. Does that just mean hang out?
Yeah.
Is it an exclusive one-on-one hangout?
Yeah.
Is it, oh, hey, I'm having them over at my house and we're just chilling, talking about Star Wars or something?
Right.
What do they mean by entertain? Now, I'm not trying to be weird about it. It's like, hey, like people may, like, I've never heard anyone use the word entertain when it comes to a question like this. Never.
Like when you're a hostess, I've used it. I think people, and I kind of trying to understand with this person in the context of why they use that phrase entertain, because when you're a hostess and you're having people over your home, you're entertaining them.
You're entertaining. It's like you have like a position.
So you're hosting.
You're not really focused
dinner
on
party.
You're making sure that they're there to have a good time.
Right.
You're making sure that they are here within your dwelling, and making sure that like you're gonna have a good time. You're not in need of anything.
Right.
There's sustenance that you can go to the restroom. You feel comfortable.
Yeah. I think when you're in a marriage or in a serious relationship, you shouldn't be hanging out with the opposite sex without your partner being there.
Or without other people as well. Because like if it's like a work thing, that's also a little bit different.
If it's a work thing because you guys are hanging out with your coworkers, that's different. If it's a one-on-one, I'm not for that. I understand that you gals have male friends, but that guy is not calling you at midnight for something important. He should respect.
Y'all should be in bed anyway, asleep.
If he's your so-called friend, he should respect the fact that you're in a relationship and in a serious one, and he shouldn't be.
There's lines and there's trust.
Yes. So your friend, your so-called friend, should know and shouldn't be calling you at midnight unless it's a dire situation and someone's dying. That's like.
And obviously that's fine.
Yeah. And obviously that's fine. I don't think that whatever church you go to, your pastor or your youth pastor who's married is going to allow their wife to go hang out with their guy friend for a cup of coffee.
So I was part of an organization that it was an unwritten rule.
Even Pastor Sean would say, he's like, I would never go to, on a one-on-one with the opposite sex, even for a cup of coffee.
No.
So I think that's the standard.
I also think the way that it's handled is like says a lot, because I was part of an organization. I'm not going to say what type of organization or the name. I'm distancing myself from it. But there's an unwritten rule, and it does make sense in a way. Mm-hmm. Now, it was a double standard, and then at some point, it kind of just didn't make any sense anymore. Now, there was this unwritten rule of like, okay, if someone, like, let's just say I was married, right? Yeah. As an example, I was married, and then and I needed to go somewhere, I need to travel somewhere with a female coworker who is single.
Right.
Or even married.
Right.
Either way. And we were both going to the same place. It was super close. We're just going to do a job and then go our separate ways or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to travel in the same vehicle with the opposite sex, whether they're married or single.
Yeah.
Now, as both single people, they were really frowned upon that.
Yeah.
Now, to married people, they were kind of like okay with, which I'm like, what? In a way, but like again, this is an unwritten rule, so like you could confirm or deny anything.
Right.
And I heard different interpretations, but it was like I'm sitting there and I'm going, well, wait a second, hold on. The amount of times that I've been in a car with just a single female, and like even in my own personal car, we work together, we're just friends, like we go different places, and it's like, oh, well, we really frown upon that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you know, like again, I'm not trying to do anything. Right now, like obviously, let's flip the role. Like if I was to get into a vehicle with a female who's married, right? Like, what are we really looking? Are we looking at just the perception of it?
Yeah.
Are we looking at the vanity of it? Or is this?
It might be a combination of all.
Like here's the thing. Like here's the thing. Yes, people sin. Yes, people fall. Yes, like
especially guys. Guys are visual creatures, as I said before.
Yeah, but
I alluded to that
like,
earlier.
Honestly, and again, this is just it's just me. If you're in a relationship in any type of way, I'm like,
I can't hang out with you on a one-on-one.
Well, it's not that I can't hang out with you one-on-one. It's just
courtesy.
There are lines.
There's lines that you can't cross.
Yeah.
There's lines that you can't cross. And if your friend knows that you're in a relationship, your friend should be your friend and not cross those lines. If perfect example, I'm in a relationship. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend has a lot of male friends.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We talked about the subject, and we came to a conclusion that the best way for her to ever see her male friends is if it's in a group setting or if I'm present.
Yeah.
There's no one-on-one. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing. I trust her. I just don't trust the guy. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a guy and I know how guys think. And you would have to literally have zero
mm-hmm.
like affection as far as sexual to really be on the safe zone.
Well, and what I was going to say that
because
that
even if you have like a 2% like attraction to that person, there's room for sin to get in there.
So I know someone who is married, mm-hmm. and they were like, hey, you know, if my wife hung out with you, mm-hmm. I'd totally be okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, but again, that's a judgment call.
Yeah.
And that's also like this person knowing his wife, but then also knowing me enough to go like, I know you won't do anything stupid. I know you don't like, you know, yada yada. But I also know her. So I think it's a judgment call in a way. But also, like, I wouldn't put myself in a situation. Like, I also, he knows me well enough to know I would not put myself or his significant other in a situation where there's a question about that. It's like, if we were to meet up and we're like bump into each other in public, okay, cool. Like, I would freaking.
Well, obviously, there's going to be like outliers too.
Yes, there's outliers,
and there's going to be an exception to the rule.
But I will say this, right? Because I was once one of my ex-girlfriends. She was going on a trip back to her college town.
Right.
And for like 2 weeks, she dreaded talking to me about it. She's like, she later admitted, she's like, I just dreaded talking to you about it. And so she came and she's like, hey, like, I'm going to go back. You know, are you okay with it? I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a little bit of like, yeah, go, have fun. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what, you know, man? I'm like, why?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I said, look, I may not trust the guys that are around you because I know certain of these guys have an attraction to you, but I also know you, and I know you wouldn't cross those lines with them because we are together, and I know you well.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so I think I think it could be a situation call with that, but I also think there are certain lines and certain trusts that are involved with that. Yeah. So it's like, hey, you're like, oh, they're like, of course, if it's always that one person all the time, it's like, all right, there's something kind of there that makes me kind of question a couple of things.
And again, even if you find that person 5% attractive, there's room for imaginations to go haywire, and you know, especially on the guy. So it's like, no, I'm not. It wouldn't. It's just not safe. And I think the best way to put those safeguards is by setting those boundaries and those healthy boundaries with your partner. Hey, I understand that you have girlfriends, that, you know, friends who are female. I understand that. But if you're gonna ever hang out with your female friends, I would have to be present, or it would have to be in a group setting or in a job.
I was saying, like, certain
in a job.
requirements, not to be legalistic, but
Yeah.
certain things need to be
Absolutely.
achieved before, like, I would be okay with this.
And vice versa. If your girlfriend, has a lot of male
And
friends,
it goes back to the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm like, if an emergency happened, because this happened one time where I was in a relationship and like a really good female friend of mine had this terrible thing happen to them.
Right.
I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm not like, but she had this like, she called me in a panic.
Right.
Had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And so I called my significant other at the time, and I was like, hey, I'm going to see this person.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's good that you communicated that
yeah,
with
so
your
it's
girlfriend.
like, hey, I'm going to take care of this. I'll call you later and tell you exactly what happened.
Right.
And because they were just like, okay, yeah, go.
Yeah.
Like, do it. Like, they knew that like I have a certain calling, and they also knew that like I'm not gonna look at that person this way. And
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and they're just a good friend, and that's it. Nothing more. Will never be anything different.
Yeah.
So there you go, boys and girls.
Yeah, just set your boundaries. You got to actually speak those out. What's a healthy boundary, and when it comes to hanging out with the opposite sex, and I think that you guys should be able to figure that out. Obviously, at the end of the day.
So it's like yes, but also no. But no, but also yes.
But also at the end of the day, let's honor each other, honor God, and like morality. Obviously, has to.
We still have to do morality.
I know it has to be set in place where, hey, I understand that you have friends of the opposite sex, but here's what the parameters are, and it should be healthy ones, and in turn, it'll actually nourish your relationship.
Healthy, ethical, and honestly logical.
Yeah. Boom. There it is. Okay, and
I feel like we could have just summed it down.
And the last question, and this is not even made up, like great segue because you said practical. Our last question has the word practical in it. And the question goes, what are some practical ways of combating your anger?
So I can actually speak a lot into this.
So can I actually.
And
we're going to end with that. That's the last.
We've talked about this because we've admitted we both have had anger issues at some point. And there are times where, like, I'm gonna be honest, like there are just like one or two small things that will make me snap.
Yeah.
I will snap. And here's the thing, it's not like it takes a while to get me there.
Right.
But like me and Navik call it the ENFP slap.
Yeah.
Because it's like it takes us a long time to get to that point. But once we snap, it is nasty. It is not fun for anyone involved.
Yeah.
I had a lot of anger when I was younger because I didn't know ways to be able to communicate what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that. But I also know that a lot of my anger issues also came from me kind of watching my own father.
Yeah.
My dad.
It's learned behaviors.
My dad is. You've seen my dad. Mm-hmm. Anyone, Caleb's seen my dad. My dad is a beast. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he was scary when he was angry.
Yeah. Very
scary. And honestly, his anger got to the point where he and my stepmom were considering divorce at some point.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't because I'm so thankful for them. But my dad, especially when my brother and sister were starting to get older, he definitely needed to work on it. And he actually read a few books, and one of those books was called 3 Seconds. You take 3 seconds, you breathe, count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Taking those 3 seconds, there's something in the human brain that when you allow 3 seconds to go by, it allows the initial thoughts, actions, and intentions to drop to it was like a certain percent or something. Yeah. Like a huge, it was a significant drop off. Significant, just by waiting 3 seconds.
Incredible.
It's breathe and count to 3. Breathe, count to 3. Breathe.
Practice on your breathing,
count
kids.
2, 3. But I also in a way attribute that to my dad also getting back into church and serving.
Yeah.
Because now that he's back in church and they ask him to serve so he can do this and do this and do this and do this, that also helped his anger because he became more involved with his faith.
That's what I was kind of wanted to allude to.
He wanted to
more plugged in your church.
Model for myself and my brother and sister, which I'm going to be honest, I'm very proud of my father because he is very active. He's been asked to preach a number of times, and if anyone's heard him speak, he is a very good orator. I mean, his major was communication, so
right.
Duh.
Yeah.
But I mean, so like I would say practical ways is, I mean, honestly, like start counting to three, and then extend that to 10 seconds, but also set things for yourself and even talk to the people around you and let them be accountable. Where because even my stepmom, he gave my stepmom permission. It's like, hey, if I'm crossing a line, you tell me you're crossing a line.
Right.
I'm not going to talk to you for 10 seconds, and then we can speak.
Yeah.
And so practically, they're both involved.
Yeah.
They're both involved with it. And here's the thing: their communication. I mean, there's obviously still needs some work over time, but like, but they were able to communicate their intentions and feelings together faster,
right?
Because they've been able over time. Because my dad gave her permission, but also gave her the power to say, "Hey, you cannot talk to me that right now. I'm going to let you take 10 seconds and think about what you want to say, and then we'll come back to this conversation."
And I just like to touch on the mental health of it all because as everybody pretty much knows, that I do see a therapist from time to time. Shout out to Alex. Hopefully I could get Alex back on another pod to cover
if you haven't checked that episode,
some more.
Go backwards and check
it out. Mental health. With Alex, he would call it internal conflicts, right? With anger festering and dealing with anger, managing your anger is essentially internal conflict. So Alex would tell me, whenever you would have an internal conflict, you need to address that in real time. Don't let it sit. Don't let it fester. Certainly don't suppress it, because if you suppress it, what happens is it becomes a domino effect where you start suppressing and then something else angers you and then you suppress that. So what happens is you're suppressing 1,000 different anger, raged emotions, and then she forgets to close the door that you needed closed in the house, and then you just blow up. And it wasn't even for that. It was because you were suppressing so many different scenarios that was frustrating you that you're just going to blow your lid. And that's not healthy neither. So a practical way to identify your internal conflict and identifying it and sharing it with your partner in real time is by saying what you essentially said, because I'm kind of piggybacking off what you just said, is giving yourself some time to deal with it in a more sober mind and a more civil, more level-headed. Handle it civilly like adults. If it means you need to take the dog out for a walk and walk an extra mile, do it.
I mean, yes, it's obviously like there's, in a way, we're kind of talking in terms of relationship, but also on the individual level, there needs to be an understanding of, okay, like what you just said was like take the dog for a walk. Yes, the Bible says do not let the sun set on your anger.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you can't take some time and deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it.
There's a logical thing that the Bible allows you to do, because like even there's a situation that happened recently where I was kind of like, hey, like this could have been handled like a couple days from now. It could have. Like it didn't need to happen right this second. Yeah. Like this could have waited like a couple days because it wasn't like life or death.
Right. And I got to learn that too. Sometimes we have to learn to discern and decipher what needs to be addressed right away, what can wait a couple minutes or hours or days.
Go for a walk. Like go for a walk, run, work out. Like
read a book or meditate and pray, man. Like I know that sometimes we always pray about it, but essentially prayer is a tool that should be your first line of defense and not your last resort. So I hopefully that answered your question.
I'd also say that this also kind of helped my dad a little bit too, and I know it helps me sometimes, is just getting a change of scenery.
Oh, that's big. That's
like,
huge.
I mean, whether it's like you go on a 4-day vacation,
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's actually a spot I have somewhere in Palm Beach County. I'm not telling you where it is, but if I need to really clear my head, or if I'm having like, I drive to this spot, and it like helps me clear my head.
I like going to the beach at night. That kind of clears my head,
there,
right?
If you can get there, because like I know there's still some spots where cops are kind of like sitting there waiting for people to
Yeah, I went to and Caleb concurs. I went to Lake Worth Beach at night one time, parked my car, and I just took a walk by the boardwalk that they have there now, and just looked at the ocean and kind of like thanked God and said a little prayer of like peace and serenity, and that kind of does something to you, and you feel at peace literally. So
it's just sometimes you go outside, you do something, then you come back and it's like, oh, okay, what was I really thinking?
Yeah, and don't let anger define you, because I let that define me for a long time, and I thought, oh, it's just that's just who I am. This is just how I am, and this is how I operate, and essentially it's not. It's a lie that the devil wants to plant in your head. Don't believe that. Don't fall into that lie. You're not an angry person. You're not a bad person. You can do something about that. Take control of your life. Take control of your anger, and you'll be a better person. And you'll be more level-headed. And you'll actually create better relationships along the way.
Like we were saying at the beginning of this episode, you just do it. You just like keep doing it. It becomes habitual.
Yeah.
And it does change.
It does change you, and it does become a permanent thing.
So don't get frustrated or mad that it's not working within a week. It took some time for my dad to kind of get there.
Yeah, it does take time.
So it took some time.
Yeah.
But it honestly, it's worth it, because honestly, I'm really not an angry person.
Me neither. I mean, I'll have my moments.
Oh yeah, I got my moments.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get in the basketball court, that's
yeah, I'll have my moments. But I hope that you guys were entertained, that you guys got something out of this.
No, thank you for all the questions.
And thank you for the questions. Of course, we'll do more of these episodes in the future. Again, go ahead and follow us on the digital platforms so you can hear the audio, you can see the visuals on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. I'll leave the links below. The description, I should say, subscription. You should subscribe if you haven't subscribed, but I will leave all the links on the description. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Till the next time. Peace.